Episode 4, where the not yet a coterie gets turned in the kibble.
No. I mean, you say it so smoothly, but at the same time, I'd rather not be kibble. Pix is the Nosferatu I've been wanting to play for years.
I'll do the radio promo for our impending doom.
Previously on Milwaukee by Night.
Ooh. Yeah, what's the recap?
Oh boy.
Let me go to my 3 pages of notes.
5 Stooges walk into the woods with no plan.
It began with Laszlo and Nora on creepy MKE AM talking about a werewolf sighting.
Right.
We then led into our insanity-induced dreamscape that Cass seemingly pulled us into. We learned from Ren that a werewolf took Athena after maiming Nails.
Was it a werewolf, or was that Ren's recount of it?
That was Ren's accounting of it. And then we took Nails to Pix's lovely home underneath the streets of Milwaukee.
Quite lovely, if you ask me.
Had some juice boxes. And then went to Hubbard Park, where everything was just fine, and there was no impending doom sense for any of us after we had a lovely discussion with Sundown, who was hiding behind a trash can not very well.
Quite well. You were just better at finding
it. He needs to hide better.
Well.
He needs to
he defied the Nazi stereotype. And he defied the Nazi clan stereotype of clan over sect. Can't believe it. Very disappointed. Gonna have to talk with him about it.
We showed him because we dragged his ass over the bridge across the water.
Yeah, with his ancient flaw or whatever, right? Can't cross one.
Russian curse.
Yeah.
Cast him into the river. And we ended up following the markers into the woods to the WITI radio tower, where I believe there was a small kind of cabin nearby as well.
Right. And that's where we will, of course, pick up this fine evening.
After the wolf howl?
After the wolf howl, that's right. You hear a distant wolf howl, and you kind of almost expectantly, wait for more to echo it, and it doesn't come. But first, player intros. I'm going to start out with Abby, who's playing our Nosferatu real quick. Reset who you are, what you're doing, anything you want to advertise real quick, and yeah.
Howdy, howdy. I'll be playing Pixie Pix, our absolutely necessary and delightfully hygienic Nosferatu. Occasionally, I'm funny on Twitter, and I rant about indigenous issues. So check me out at Nothing Abby. Maybe keep watching, pretty please.
How's it going, Charlotte?
It is going good. Yourself?
Not bad. It's certainly dig season here in Milwaukee by day, but by night it's all about vampires. So it's a great day or a great evening. How's it going? Yeah.
Sorry, my cable on my microphone disconnected.
Perfect.
You said dig season, right?
Yes, I did say dig season. Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of heard something else.
Construction season. So it's I work construction adjacent for the city I live in, and so any project, any of that stuff. But that's boring stuff. This is vampire stuff. This is the cool stuff. What have you been up to? What are you playing this evening?
Well, I'm here playing with a bunch of cool kids, so that's fun. Yeah. So I am playing Elizabeth, the Toreador vampire, who is going to probably run away at one point tonight. We shall see how that goes. On the other side of that, I am Charlotte. I am at Foxfire22, FOXFYRE22 on most of the internets, Twitter in particular. You can check out some of the stuff that I share, which is completely random a lot of times. Lately, it's been like rocks, like painted rocks. So yeah, that's something I'm playing with right now.
That's awesome. Scott, how's it going?
I am Scott. I am playing Ben Sahar, the resident Tremere, who dragged along in said plan. Nothing going on too much because it's all work right now and getting ready for finals.
Sam, how's it going? Who are you
I'm
playing?
doing all right. I'm Sam. You probably won't find me on the internet except when I'm playing Cass or Malkavian.
Rad. And last but not least, the man with no name, Ty.
I'm Ty. I'm going to be the social media manager for Sam's online presence at Car Driving Melkavian on Twitter, starting after the show. But no, I can be found at Fat Kid Sports. Don't ask; it's a long story. But also,
We have time. I'm asking.
Also, I do a podcast with some friends called Playin' and Slayin', and on episode 60 that just dropped, we spent probably about 10, 15 minutes talking about the actual play and my experience so far. So check it out sometime.
Now I got to go watch another podcast. No, is it stream appropriate to ask why Fat Kid Sports? Actually, because now you have us all interested. I have to know.
So long ago, a friend and I had the idea of we sat in the back of our high school English class senior year. And as a bigger boned person, I said I was the fat kid in back. And then a few years after that, I started a now defunct blog called Fat Kid Sports, where I wrote about kind of sports and did some stuff there. And it just stuck because when you make a Twitter handle 12 years ago or however long, that's what you stick with, and then it shifts and now it's not at all relevant, but that was it.
Now it's all nerd stuff and
Yep.
nerds aren't allowed to like sports, obviously,
Right.
Every stream I go live,
Diametrically opposed
Yeah.
forces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hide all of my Packers, Brewers, and Milwaukee Bucks merchandise. Oops, I left my championship banner hang there. No. They're just different type of nerds. It's all nerds. What makes you a nerd is sort of the inability to contain yourself talking about something to people who don't care. Which happens to be my specialty. I am, of course, the magical Mr. Mephisto. I will be the storyteller this evening, and hopefully I'm telling you a story you care about. And if you do enjoy it, remember to, hit the follow. Follows are free here on Twitch, and hit like and subscribe if you're catching it on the VOD on YouTube. You can catch me on Twitter, where I will tell you every thought and opinion I have at length, at @MR_MEPH, Mr. Meth. And this is part 4 of the Endless Elegy. We're calling this one Unheavenly Creatures. So, as the party mentioned in that fabulous recap by Ty, they've sort of ended up in Hubbard Park, sort of staring down the once tallest freestanding structure in the world. It has since lost that title, like many things in Milwaukee, this sort of past, of excellence that, the further Milwaukee goes into its troubled future, it gets further and further from. And here this WITI tower, still kind of used by some of the radio stations. The local Channel 8 television show actually comes broadcast off this very same tower. And you can see little bits of modernity, sort of, satellite dishes and other stuff that have been added to this structure, really sort of clashing between the old wrought iron style of it and the sort of new, weird, hybrid plastics and stuff like that they use these days. And sort of right at the base of it, a little bit offset, there's actually an old, I call it a cabin out of size, but it would be more accurately like a former sort of military, single building post that got retrofitted when they put up the tower, back in the 50s or whenever they put this thing up, right? And that would be the sort of like hub for any of the maintenance, any of the wiring, any of the broadcasting type stuff. And you can see a lone sort of green light, must be from a lamp, just sort of like cascading out the one window where like a curtain's very ever so partially drawn to the side. It's just sort of up in the view in the clearing, and there's a fence that's supposed to be wrapped around this thing, but the trees in this particular part of Hubbard park are rather well overgrown, and some of their branches have actually sort of torn and ripped chunks of that fence out, leaving it less secure than it should be, and the prime place for someone to lay low. You see this before you. What do y'all do?
I make a rouse check and activate Defy Bane in case I get bit by a horrific creature.
And do you want to go ahead and describe what Defy Bane does for perhaps the audience, for Chat Gang?
I would love to. It prepares myself with an expenditure of power where I can be temporarily resistant to such things like fire, sunlight, or werewolf claws. So it makes the aggravated damage source superficial for 3 whole points of that.
And that's, as I recall, it's 3 points per turn.
That is total. That is like
in total,
for a scene for that rouse check. I can then activate it again with another rouse to fill back up with 3 more.
Got it. All right.
I was kind of expecting some violence.
Yeah, prepared. Anyone else in the party? We see the rouse check come through.
I have a feeling that violence is going to occur tonight, but I'd rather not be the one who goes and deals with it. After all, I am a skin and bone creatures of the night. But I am going to rouse the powers of my blood and activate Feral Whispers to communicate with my lovely little famulous Batty.
Communicate with your what?
My lovely little famulous Batty the Bat.
Fantastic.
Batty's my new favorite.
I believe.
So Salvatore is going to actually gain a hunger. It looks like from, but the power still comes online. You still rouse your blood.
Yep, up to hunger 2.
Is there any particular message you'd like to give the bat, or is this just to kind of have on deck for the scene?
I'm particularly interested in that cabin, so, as I, activate the ability and sort of wake her up inside my pocket, I say, can you tell me if there's anything like us or just anything alive in that cabin over there? And I'll point specifically so her tiny little animal brain can grasp it.
She gives a light, like sort of one of those like chirps that's almost imperceptible, but you catch the pitch, and then she flutters off. You sort of see her clumsily flopping and flitting as a bat is wont to do, and then it kind of hits. She hits her stride, and there's a little bit of a grace as she sort of disappears into the night, and the little soft blinking red lights of the tower aren't enough to illuminate her path. Moments later, she returns. Maybe she perches on your fingertips, like hanging with her little claws and dangling up underneath. And you can feel the little sort of like scritches as they delicately sort of like try to wrap around your finger without actually piercing your skin. And she just starts eking and stuff like that. And you take it to mean that she didn't notice anyone alive inside.
No one alive, but anyone like me? Not alive?
She like kind of cocks her little like bat side to, and she goes, "But there's no one like you."
Oh, I mean, there isn't, but you're too sweet to say. I mean, something akin to, and I gesture widely at the, well, not coterie, but kind of coterie of ours. Anything like us. Creatures like us.
Maybe. They weren't moving.
Oh, shit. Pix is, oh god, the rest of everyone just heard me talk to a bat as she's squeaking, but Pix is gonna look up from her conversation and sort of pull everyone in. So according to Batty, there's something like us in there. It's not moving. Could be someone taking a rest, might be in torpor. Just be wary.
The little bat has a little bat?
I find that it's good company. You know what they say, we're social creatures.
I've got to turn on some ambient music here.
Ooh, foresty sounds. Also, imagine Batty, like, once her services have been rendered, she'll return to the pocket in which she lives in Pixie's hood.
Seems about right. Anyone else do anything? Charlotte? Or,
I'm
sorry.
resuming using Silence of Death that I started using last session.
Just making sure you maintain it so you're not making any noise.
Yeah.
Eerily quiet walking along, yeah. Do Cass or Elizabeth do anything?
No.
Cass will be using his Cloak of Shadows and like kind of leaning up against a tree, looking around.
Okay, so we have obfuscate in play here. All right. Yeah. So I mean, you've kind of Batty has reconned the cabin, and your move.
With this information in hand, as well, I'm going to activate Unseen Passage, which will cost a rouse, and gesture to the rest of the party that I am going to be approaching the cabin with Batty's recon in mind.
Okay. They see you kind of, sort of step beside and then just sort of half kind of forget that you were there in a moment, and you sort of meld into nature there as you approach. As I stated before, there's a couple places where the fence has been sort of preened or ripped apart by nature here. So getting inside is not too difficult, just a light hop or easy climb. And you're inside the sort of, I guess you'd call it a compound. There's a gravel path leading up to sort of the main entry and a larger plot of gravel. No garage where you can imagine that, maintenance person might park a Jeep or something. Currently no vehicles there, though. And just that, like I said, that sort of one sort of lick of green light coming through one of the curtains that's left slightly open. The front door, nothing remarkable. It's a door.
Could I peek through that window where that green light is coming from?
Yeah, of course. So you walk up to the window and you kind of like, it's just enough to kind of like put one eye and kind of glance in. You notice that the green light is actually coming from a desk lamp. It's got the sort of green hood on it. So the fluorescent light as it's bouncing back is coming through that actually like that green hood. And you can actually see sort of along one wall, the one sort of wall, exterior wall just to the side, kind of at a diagonal, that's loaded with equipment, big reels and all kind of like switchboards and soundboard type gear, sort of like big server hubs, but they've got a little, they've got some little extra stuff going on, and you can see some age to this equipment, right? The desk is pretty much right in front of that window there, and there's actually like a radio receiver for like what would be a Ranger radio, and some papers scattered about, not only on the desk but onto the floor, and that's where you notice some of them are caked with a viscous crimson substance.
Uh-oh.
You feel like something sort of like this pit in your stomach spark to life. Everyone, the beast wants to come out this evening. Go ahead and roll.
Oh boy. I just had to stick my nose in and like, ooh, what's going on with this light?
Twice. That happened last session too. You asked about food.
Oh, I get hungrier. I'm at hunger 3. This is not good.
Cass also gets hungrier.
Do have that juice box.
That's a little hunger between friends.
It's the first time I've actually increased my hunger.
Good, now I can stop making y'all make these checks. Got her. It doesn't need to be every session, but sometimes it just feels right, I know it's still technically the same night. Yeah. So yeah, someone dropped their red Jello there, apparently. But you immediately recognize the substance, and you can kind of see what looks like, just like sort of the jut of a leg. Wearing a pair of sort of workman's or work boots, and formerly white coveralls. They've kind of not only do they have the splotches and stains from this sort of crimson ichor, but they're also old, well worn, well loved. We say in the business, so they've kind of faded to all the various colors of work and stuff like that in nature. And you just kind of, it's about kind of looking the other direction. You can kind of, scan all but the sort of like one corner next over here. You see a second body similarly dressed in these coveralls, and you see then some like bookshelves with some like sort of open files, actually, like the little triangular shaped file holders lining the bookshelves along with some books and stuff like that. But you might even see a cot in there. It seems that this place, like I said, used to be some sort of military thing updated for this, and it also seems to double as some sort of ranger post or park, park ranger, park, yeah. But you see the two bodies, and it doesn't. Well, I guess that's about all you can make out without getting in there.
Maybe it's just the beast browsing a little bit in my blood, or the fact that I'm starting to understand Batty's words as to there are things like us in here, and by that these people are probably dead. But Pix is going to retreat from the window and go back to where she last saw Cass. It's going to break obfuscate, but she's going to call out for him, like, Cass? Cass, I need you. There's people in there. I don't think they're okay.
How do you mean?
Blood. A lot of it. And they weren't moving.
Leftovers. Oh,
You
right.
don't- Oh, no. I mean, you don't think that, like, a werewolf came by and you'd think it'd be... I mean, I haven't seen inside, but... I mean, we'll have to just go inside and see, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get the others.
Right. Let's gather the rest of the party and inform them of Recon Part 2 and perhaps how we should approach this situation.
You sort of reconvene with the "Don't Call Us a Coterie Yet" party, and yeah, I suppose you relay roughly what you heard, or if you want to do it in character or whatever.
Yeah. Crowd started a few times. I'll relay roughly. Like, there's blood. It looks like maybe a ranger's post, podcaster's house, something like that. Whatever is in there, there was a fight, or someone got very drunk with some red yellow shots. Yellow shots. Jello shots.
Any idea if the door's locked?
I didn't try it. I just looked through the window, but I think it's still worth giving it a more subtle approach.
How fresh did the blood look? Cass will say kind of hungrily.
It occurs to Pix that it wasn't fully congealed or coagulated yet. Relatively fresh. Enough to look, enough to stir the beast. It's, the beast doesn't really like necessarily come out for ancient turned brown, but this looked enticing. Fresh.
It looked new, which means whatever spilled that blood or drank it or whatever probably isn't too far away, which is why I think we should be subtle about our approach.
Don't do subtle real well.
Well, if it's all right with the rest of you, I'm going to go back there and see if I can have another look at that door. And hopefully there isn't too much of a mess in there. And once more, I will take on Unseen Passage and make my approach to the cabin.
So as you sort of begin to sort of meld back into the shadows of the evening, Where's Ben Sahar's head at? He doesn't seem to really have reacted much.
Well, because
Okay.
of the current run-in with werewolves before, I'm not too eager to get in there, especially if there's been a recent massacre. But because I also want this resolved, because Charlotte Elizabeth keeps threatening me with Decker, I am also going to use Unseen Passage and follow Pix.
All right.
For the record, I don't use Decker as a threat.
I'm a lot less scared of him than you think.
Him's fighting words.
Anytime
I
you're ready.
want to see this throwdown. You and Decker. That's it. Park lot,
You
stadium.
Miller Park.
Yeah, you would.
The next time, instead of pouring out the usual, he's going to be pouring out Ben Sahar's skull. So Salvatore, not doing subtle. Would you say saunters, swaggers?
Yeah, it's one of those purposeful strides. Shoulders back, head held high.
Yeah. How does Elizabeth make her approach?
Slowly, carefully, watching where I step, making sure I don't step on anything that I don't want on the bottom of my boots.
Would you say you're stealthing?
With a whole lot of no skill in stealth? Probably not.
Okay. All right. Just a careful approach, sort of in contrast to the brazen.
I got 1 point in stealth, so I can avoid twigs and leaves, but that's kind of the extent of it.
Right. Yeah. So, not actively, maybe relying on Salvatore to be the ultimate stealth, because he's noticeable, and by contrast, you might not be.
Salvatore's version of stealth is you put the towel on the window before you smash it to try to deaden the sound just a little bit.
The party approaches. You sort of find one of these holes in the fence and sort of deftly sort of meld through. Pix, you've already reached the door by this point, and as you actually, it doesn't even really take rolling per se. The door it is a little bit heavier, though unremarkable, right? Like I said, converted military post. But you'll note that there's actually like some sort of clawed prints, like actual, like, not scrapes, but like big old handprint or claw print, sort of a little bit higher up in the door, and you can see some like sort of big splotches of red in places and a light dent to it. And the door's actually like the hinge, or not the hinge, the latch is busted. I mean, you just push it open.
That doesn't bode well at all. Really hoping that's a bear. I mean, bears are in Milwaukee, right? Right?
Black bears, I believe.
Okay, they're cowardly
Ew.
ones then. Just gotta pretend to be big.
And the Milwaukee County Zoo, quite a respectable place, has, I think, 4 different ursine. So
Power of denial.
maybe one of them got out.
A jailbreak episode. This'll be fun.
So Pix steals her resolve and pushes the door open, or is she gonna let Salvatore do that?
I will let Salvatore do that because, quite frankly, I'm not the most intimidating sight, and I would rather not break my obfuscation.
All right. Salvatore, you're sort of quick approaching the door. Elizabeth, you've been sort of careful with your foot placement. These are quite stylish boots, after all. You notice that,
Right?
right? Yeah. I mean, gravel too. You know, it's just gonna throw up dust on it. You're gonna get that like sort of gray white film from the gravel on the boots, and you're gonna like wipe it off. It's worse than actually like walking through grass, because that dust gets everywhere.
I might have eternity, but I don't have time for that.
You actually notice that there are little splotches of this sort of crimson in the gravel leading up to the door. Looks like actually like sort of 2 distinct paths even. little patterns that sort of trail and snake their way.
Can I tell if they're coming away from the door or towards the door?
With an intelligence investigation, you could probably discern that. Or if you're going more off of like impulse, it could be a wits investigation. But I think there's a little bit more of an intelligence, trying to get the angle and the trajectory, you know. Watching for these dice. They're approaching. This isn't a. They're approaching this cabin. You can tell.
Okay, hold on. I don't think I did that right.
I saw academics and intelligence, and I saw one success, which is enough for me.
Yeah, I got 2 and a. Yeah, okay, that works. Whatever.
I mean, if you want to correct it and roll, but
No, it's fine.
I'll let you re-roll. Go ahead.
No, it's the same thing that would have happened anyway, because I have 0 in investigation. I would be running strictly on intelligence.
Right. Yeah, and one's enough to kind of get the trajectory. Like I said, you can see like the way it gets sort of thicker in one direction and thinner in another type thing. You're like, oh yeah, this is heading towards the building. You've watched CSI enough to be pretty convinced of this.
Hey, do you know that something happened and they went into the door bleeding?
There goes being subtle. I mean, yeah, I noticed the blood, but you said they were going in. Do you think maybe they were attacked and they're trying to find some place to hide?
It's quite possible. I mean, we could have passed something in the dark further back that could give us a little bit more of an idea as to what went on.
And other than those symbols from the cult of Isis and sundown, but nothing to know until we open that door.
Unless your 2 injured people are the werewolves.
That's a lovely thought.
One can hope.
Salvatore, gun drawn, just kicks the door in.
The door is surprisingly heavy, but your kick was anticipating that. This isn't your first time seeing a retrofitted military, formerly military door, and you give it a good kick, good automatopoeia there, I think. Give it a good kick, and the door kind of swings apprehensively open, and you're sort of faced with the full dim light of the interior of this sort of radio. We'll call it a radio shack.
And Sal's first looks are in the corners of the room.
Yeah. So quickly glancing to the corners of the room, I guess there's a Giannis Antetokounmpo calendar in one corner with him hoisting the NBA trophy, and you notice it hasn't been flipped over for a few months, and then you see the bookshelves and the stuff like that. They actually run the bookshelves on the sort of left wall run, door all the way back, and the equipment runs on the right door wall to wall. And then you sort of have like this sort of blank wall with like like schedules and stuff written on it, and whiteboard for the Rangers. And these 2 bodies obviously are like the obvious thing in the room. They're just on the floor. Go ahead and roll a wits awareness.
Wits plus awareness.
Could this be for anyone peeking into the room as well?
Yeah, go ahead, Pix. You can roll as well.
Hell yeah.
Cass, I think, was there as well.
Yeah, Cass is definitely interested. He's hungry.
All right. So to my mind, as I recall, the failures on these dice don't actually remove a success, like they did in former editions. It's just if you fail the check and you have that bloody, that messy failure or whatever, bad things happen. So, like, say if the DC was 3, and you got,
Be in trouble.
you'd be in trouble. Luckily, it's discreet, but not unnoticeable. You feel like this, like you're looking at the building from the outside, and then you kind of you're sort of observing that it feels like this place should be bigger. This room is, I mean, it's a very, again, it's a big room. You know, it's just one huge room, but it's one cabin. But you're just kind of glancing at like sort of the exterior wall, and you kind of glance inside, and you feel like there's some depth lost here.
Huh.
Should be bigger.
What do you mean?
Outside the dimensions in here, it should be bigger.
Oh, maybe it's like a drug operation. Like they got weed smoking and like some magical hidden wall. And with that, Pix is actually going to start knocking on the walls to see if there's like any hidden room.
This becomes a awareness investigation, or sorry, wits. Either wits or intelligence investigation. It's like either you're kind of BSing your way through it, or you're like being critical about it. I'm okay with either. It's funny both ways.
Does it
Will
seem like
do.
there's blood still inside these bodies? Hekata have no qualms about the recently dead, so.
So you're so first thing is like so you kind I'd imagine Pix just immediately just sort of like, oh yeah, bodies are, oh the wall, like there might, you know, and just kind of gets excited and goes and starts like knocking on the walls, and we'll come back to Pix in a minute. The rest of the party sees that there doesn't seem to be like an immediate danger leaping out at your resident necromancer here, and probably approaches, I'd imagine. Salvatore goes in, crouches down by one of the bodies, and as the rest of the don't call us a coterie sort of filter in, and the first thing Salvatore notices is they're deceased. I mean, you know, you've been around enough corpses. They're dead. Or as you know, a kindred could look really, really dead too. The problem is like kindred don't bleed like this. This blood is coming from them, and they just smell. They smell horrible. Not like corpses, like something worse. Trash. I don't know. Like maybe they never
Wet
bathed.
dog.
Who knows? But you can see as you get kind of closer to them, their torsos have these large gashes in them, and like the fatal blows seem to be like up under the ribs, sort of like on contrasting sides. Looks like something like sort of jagged or jagged and heavy, perhaps an axe or something. A big axe, like a guitar-sized axe.
Get out.
It's 2 tonight. All right, that's the end of the session. I hit my puns. Okay. Salvatore, what do you do? And then we'll kind of jump to the rest of the party real quick.
I mean, they smell like worse than anything I've in the last 20 years drank.
You haven't. This is a new like
a new low. I've hit a new low for corpse stink.
I was gonna say like just the sort of repugnance of this is a new like registry in the olfactory sense. This is unlike anything you've ever smelled before.
With kind of a disgusted sigh, I'll stand up and kick one of the bodies and then see if Pix is having any luck.
Yeah, this is just odious. Just a whole new level. Yeah, Pix is like she's gonna find something, and she's kind of made her way like 1/4 of the way around the room by now. What's the rest of what's Elizabeth doing? Or I says order of entry would be the Malkavian next. What's Cass doing?
Cass is gonna brush past Sal and start feeding on one of these things. He's gonna hold his nose and just can't let it go to waste.
So vampires don't usually do too well with blood in a deceased body. They tend to have like a merit to do something like that, to actually like get sustenance from it. You can certainly like enjoy yourself, but it might not satiate the beast.
Oh, it's not gonna say anything. Oh man.
You're like,
Guess I'll still take a taste.
actually, it's not that bad. Like once you get past the smell, it's sort of like like a good cheese. You wish it were still warm.
God, like a Gruyere. A cave-aged Gruyere.
Yeah, like a pungent cheese, and then you get in, like actually like a little nutty, kind of wild, a little spicy too. Like what I don't know, however you describe a werewolf blood without saying it's werewolf blood.
Oh, it's definitely werewolf blood.
This isn't like anything you've ever had before. The actually there's a description from Decker who says it's like drinking lightning or something like that.
Cass is gonna kind of lick his lips and says, "Cold cheese."
Yeah. And then I believe Elizabeth would kind of be the next in, with Ben. So what's Elizabeth do? You see this spectacle. Pix has now made it halfway around the exterior wall of the cabin. You see her like knocking high and low, listening, and just kind of doing her thing.
What? That. Never mind. I'm going to go over to the other body that's not being feasted upon and check their pockets. This is what we call in the biz looting the corpse.
I mean, they've already been picked over. Like their pockets are actually like turned inside out on their coveralls.
Well, it looks like someone else got here before we did. Trying to see if these guys had any ID on them or what the case, figure out who they were, but they got nothing. Any jewelry, any belts, any necklaces.
So one of them's got like a watch. One of them's got like a like a link of chain around the neck. Maybe some like super on the nose joke that says like hound dog or something on it. Like
Despicable creatures.
Says the guy who wants to suck on it.
I held off.
Does Salvatore say that openly?
I think that exchange just happened in character.
Yeah.
That's Ben Sahar announcing themselves into the room.
Well, despicable how? We don't know anything for sure. We shouldn't be jumping to conclusions.
Yeah, don't let the storyteller's lack of vocabulary spoil the fun.
Do you smell their blood? It's disgusting.
I smell their filth.
It's about this time that Pix has sort of made it over to where the equipment section is. And one of them, like, she notices, like, you can see the sort of track underneath it. This one moves.
Oh.
I mean, it's discreet, but Pix is tenacious.
Just a little secret of old Clan Nosferatu. Never stop until you find secrets. I think she's gonna make that terrible little rat-like giggle as she notices the track and just, found something. Got like a weed growing operation here or something behind this wall. Gotta be behind this track or something. I don't know. Someone's muscles. Come move it. And she's just feeling around for hinges or some kind of candle handle she can turn.
Yeah. To Pix's sadness, there are no candle handles. This thing's on a track. There's a sort of a release lever just kind of up under one of the shelves. It's sort of like hidden away, but not. I mean, it's not like the Fibonacci sequence was used to hide this thing. It's supposed to be functional. It's just you got to know what you're looking for, or be really into crime mysteries or whatever. And Pix finds the little lever up underneath the sort of shelf, and you can feel the wheels release, and then it just sort of like kind of like glides pretty freely to the side, and you see just a sort of little sort of narrow door. This one's metal, and it's, seems to be secured or something.
Hey, any of them have a key on them or anything? Or like a code?
The pockets on this one are empty.
Huh. Does the door have a lock on it that looks compromisable?
It's got it's like got like an old school like padlock on the outside of it, like actually like on a lever.
Ooh.
Like a key lock.
Yeah, like a
one of
literal
those
padlock. Like it's on the outside. It's got the little bar that comes over, and then you padlock it. It's a key lock instead of a tumbler. So with enough force or noise or bullets, you might be able to.
Before we get there, Sal slides out, a little set of lockpicks, and we'll attempt to jimmy this thing open.
Larceny.
Ooh.
I love
Nice
that they just
sight
call
out
the
there,
skill
Sal.
larceny. It's so good. They know what's up.
AKA the B&E.
Yep. Salvador's done a few of these in his day. Go ahead and roll your dexterity larceny. Although for Salvatore, like I almost feel like strength larceny is like something he knows how to use too.
Yeah, a little
Just
forceful.
beats the luck up.
Let's see how we do here. 3 successes.
Not bad. Actually, like seems like a simple lock. You're a little surprised at how much resistance there is to this thing. High quality, built in a. This just shows that the craftsmanship of things built back in the day compared to now ain't nothing. But just a little, kind of impressed. It's been a while since you've had a battle with a lock like this, but it eventually comes loose and unlocks.
Good luck. And I'll take it off and actually pocket it.
Nice sight you got there. Where'd you get it from?
Chicago.
Huh. I'll have to ask someone to pick something up for me.
The door, sort of from there, sort of swings freely, heavy, and it opens with a sort of like great sort of craning groan sort of noise as the hinge has clearly not been upkept as well. And you see a sort of a second chamber, narrower than this one, and you can see. Did you meet? I don't think you met him. You see a well-dressed, appears to be middle-aged man, little voluptuous. He's a heavier set man, not obese, but he's he's a little jowly like I can be, and his hair's sort of stark gray. He keeps it kind of slicked back in a hairstyle from just an utterly different time, and he's got like some ostentatious cufflinks on his red shirt underneath a gray suit with the lapels undone a little bit, showing off some gray chest hair, and wearing classic like wingtips, just dressed completely out of like a 60 car dealer, used car dealer, to really get it home. But the quality, whilst his taste might be off or dated, the quality of everything he wears, pristine. This man, when he sees something he likes it more if he can pay a braggadocious amount for it. And he's laying there motionless. You notice a chair leg, and you can actually see the chair in question, sort of thrown to the side of him, has been busted off and jabbed through his chest. And it's around that time that we notice that the desk is missing its chair.
Shit, he's been staked. Bex is just gonna wide-eyed look back at everyone. Do you think he knows what happened here?
Why don't you pull it out? We'll find out.
I mean, if you say so. I mean, seems a little rude. No ceremony. Just pull wood out of someone's chest.
Well, you'll get used to it. Stranger things do happen with our kind. As I say that, I'm going to start backing up.
Oh, yes, let the neonate get eaten by the potentially very hungry Ancilla
So-
we're about to
Yeah,
unstake.
Salvatore steps forward and kind of, extends an arm to nudge Pix kind of back.
Oh, she's a weakling. She'll just go right aside, tail between her legs.
Okay. Salvatore gonna remove the stake.
Yeah.
All right. Let me. I gotta actually roll dice for this person coming out of torpor here. Well, stake paralysis here.
And I hope that Densahar and his surprise sword are somewhere nearby.
All right.
And yes, that's what I'm calling it from now on, the surprise sword.
So Tomlin, manager Tomlin here, handles it surprisingly well, being unstaked. You can see the sort of yellow flash and flit of this bestial sort of awareness and rage sort of surge into his eyes as you remove the stake. And then he just like, damn it, not again, not fucking again. Shit. Go to Milwaukee, make the band big, they say. Shit. Thanks for taking that out of me. That sucks. Fucking 5th time this year.
That's times in 1 year.
He's like, fuck it, not the silk, he says, and he like, kind of looks at the shirt that's kind of gone ragged. Reaches like quickly, like frantically starts searching for something on this person. Like, no. Reaches into his pocket, pulls out a cigarette tin, lights a cigarette in his mouth. Thank God.
Old habits die hard, eh?
Yeah, that dying part, he says. So, nice digs? Is this the interrogation part? Because I ain't saying shit.
Interrogation? No. I mean, honestly, I was just wondering. Only question I have is, do you know what happened to those guys over there? And Pixel point to the dead ones in the corner.
Oh yeah, they got fucked up by nails.
Nails?
Yeah.
Out here?
Best guitarist,
No, they were just-
best guitarist in the world. Swear to God.
Wait, but the band was just at. Not here in the park.
Mortally wounded as it is, doll, try to keep up.
Oh.
Really sorry, by the way.
No, oh my god, no, it's completely fine. Be as sexist to being characters you like. I'll girl boss my way through. I think Pix is just gonna frown a little bit and just say, alright, I'm not your doll, but we're looking for Athena. We're at, goddamn, forgot the name of the park. Name of park.
At the mention of Athena, he kind of like seems to sort of search himself for some composure or something hiding inside of his routine here. The used car salesman, band manager. Are you friends of Athena?
Yeah, we just spoke to her after the concert. Actually, wait, who are you? And also, anyone else, feel free to jump in. Tell me to shut up if need be.
Name's Tomlin. Tomlin Romano. He says, pleasure to make your acquaintance, miss. Sorry about the doll thing. Old habits. And he, like, notices the cigarette again and puts it out and reaches to shake your hand.
Pleasure to meet you, Tomlin.
Band manager. Best band in the world. Best band in the nation. Soon to be world. Momentum Mori. Maybe, yeah, you heard of him. Sorry. Routine. Habits, he says.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you. I'm Pixie. These are my friends.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit. He just kind of, like, notices, fucking Nosferatu, huh? Damn. Sorry, kid. Luck of the draw, I guess. And he stands up and he's brushing himself off. And
Pix is gonna
this
try
your
not to be offended.
this your merry band is you were the opening act, yeah? Opening act. I remember every opening act ever open. No, just friends. That's right, friends. Yeah.
Just friends of the band. And Pix is just gonna look over at Elizabeth. Should we say that we're here on business, or?
Go ahead.
We're here on business of Prince Decker regarding Athena. She isn't
You say Decker and you see him kind of like, yeah, that guy. Look, we Cammy rules and all that, yeah, but we were just passing through. Didn't really think to be much of a problem. I was wrong. Sorry.
Well, we're just trying to sort out the issue now. It just so happens that, well, the concert happened. We all blacked out, and now Athena's missing. There's, I think, a werewolf on the loose, and we're just trying to figure out where everyone is. We know where Nails is, but we don't know where Athena is.
Yeah, there was a hell of a show. I was backstage. Honestly, it's all a blur. I know. I'm guessing it was them, but they weren't like that, and there was one more of them. I got. I'm guessing Athena, and that looks like Nails' handiwork.
What do you mean by them?
Mutts, werewolves, Lupine. What do we call them to not sound like we're ridiculous?
Garo? I think that's the term.
Yeah, that. 3 of them. Real big, mean one. I don't see her, he says, looking at the 2 bodies.
3 of them.
I think that's the one, hope the rest of the band made it.
I mean, Nails is at my place. He's recovering. We just don't know where Athena is, and we're
and what about the? And he goes to say someone's name, and no one cares about the drummer. They're easy to replace. But Nails made it. That's good. Without Nails and Athena, there's no memento mori. The rest of them, he just kind of trails off.
No offense, but that's a little callous. And we don't even know if Athena's alive.
It's business.
Well, speaking of business,
you know of many kindred bands around trying to, it's been hard. We got enemies.
I think there's a reason for that.
Look, if it weren't for the circumstances, and he gestures at the hole in his chest, I'm usually pretty good, but I don't see the point in lying to 5 clearly clever kindred. When, quite frankly, I'm in a compromised situation. I've always been respected for my candor, you can see.
And so you said that the guys outside, it looks like Nails' handiwork.
Nuts. I'm guessing there was some sort of a scrum, like I said, backstage. But I recognize his axe.
I'm gonna look at everyone else. Does that make any sense to you? Because we found Nails at on stage.
Yeah, that'd probably be the big one, right?
The big one? No, we've
Maybe brought their bodies here so they weren't found back at the rave.
Fair.
And then came back to the rave and got his ass kicked.
It was, I think, in the fight there.
How long were we out for?
Not long. You basically blacked out for the concert, And as as the concert had been ending, you missed the whatever the scuffle was. It's possible that Nails fought a couple assailants, wounded 2 of them pretty badly.
And brought him back here.
I don't think Nails would have. It's possible that if there's a third individual, or that they were alive when they left and they bled out from whatever he did to them.
So if Nels is at the concert and Athena is God knows where, hopefully
Ag
we'll find her
damage is hard to
tonight.
heal, and if he hurt them real bad.
Yeah. How did you end up here, staked in a hidden weed cabinet?
Well, the stake came later. The big one, she had some questions. She didn't like my answers.
I see.
Seemed to be in a hurry.
She say where?
I didn't think to ask.
You got me there.
I think she must have Athena, right? Like it's got to be it.
Gotta be, otherwise she wouldn't be holding you in a hidden closet.
I think I was an afterthought.
What did she ask you exactly? Clearly she had reasons to keep you, well, talking.
Business questions, not that business. The eternal business.
Eternal business.
Blood and politics, kid.
Oh.
If she was in a rush, she sure spent a lot of time on you for just an afterthought. Ripping your head off will be a lot quicker than staking you.
I'm under the impression she may intend to return, but she had to get Athena to a more pressing place.
What's it worth to you to not be here when she returns?
Well, unfortunately, she has my meal ticket. My performer.
That will subtly shift the stake up into a more ready position to stab again.
I can't handle 6. Look. What do you want from me? You got all the cards. Like I said, I know when I'm one lick who knows when he's licked, okay?
I think everyone could benefit. You help us find Athena, you get your meal ticket back. We can report back to Prince Decker like good little citizens and tell him that Kindred has been returned safely and soundly.
See, that's where things get complicated. Decker doesn't like Kindred unannounced, and I'm starting to get the sense that we'd have been just fine if not for somebody tipping him off. Get what I'm saying? And there's those nasty rumors about Gehenna and shit. Listen to the lyrics. Beckett, whatever. He seems very frustrated.
I mean, between you and me, I know what it's like being tipped off to Decker, but at this point, it's either face his wrath or face the wrath of some giant beast. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather have the backing of a whole bunch of vampires with motorcycles.
I prefer a Cadillac, but yeah. Look, I don't know if kissing the ring is exactly going to make Decker square with the situation. So, yeah, get Athena back, but I'm thinking it is best that for the future that we maybe disappear after this and lay low.
Probably.
I don't exactly think an audience with the prince. I don't know how how nice you intend to make with the prince with this, but it might be worth something if you maybe let me, you didn't see me, right?
What the
I
rest do you
see.
think?
We're in a hard spot ourselves, so we got 2 options here. Either we take you back with us, or we take a werewolf back with us.
Third option 3, he points directly at the stake.
And then you're still coming with us. Just you'll be quiet and you won't be irritating us anymore.
All right. So look, I got no problems helping you find Athena. I mean, got skin in that game, he says, but I don't like particularly confronting somebody I made a point not to confront, you know? So we get Athena back. What next? What appeases all parties and doesn't end with me taking a 6th trip into La La Land?
Well, I'm pretty certain if we could bring the corpses of 3 werewolves back with us, he might just forget about you.
I like that. That's compelling.
That man seems pretty driven to a specific end.
I like that.
Ducker also can be rather merciful. I came here unannounced and I was trying to lay low, but he let me stay for a price. And it's not too bad. I was just looking to ask about a vampire. Just all of this happened.
Yeah. So, all right. He goes for a cigarette tin again real quick and just, like, rolls his eyes at himself, puts it back. All right. He, straightens his collar, laments the state of his silk shirt again, and sort of steps, like, cautiously past Salvatore into the sort of main room. Looks at the corpses and, geez, I don't remember him stinking this bad before, he says.
Must be the Milwaukee water.
Yeah, I've had better. He agrees with you. Maybe the rivers around here do something bad to you. I don't know. It wasn't my idea to come here. Hot tip, insider, right? Never coming back. He just kind of like ambient like starts looking through papers, looking around, like seems to be trying to help and be a detective, but you're not certain if he's, I don't know. What do y'all do?
I'm not going to babysit a used car dealer, but I think I'll help him look through those papers.
Anything in the room where he had been staked? Like, Sal is still in there, so I'll kind of look around, just make sure there's no clues.
There's not really much. I mean, it's pretty vacant. Looks like it would have been some sort of like holding cell or extra storage, or who knows what it was used for when it was still a military, outpost or whatever. But now it's
no like doors or windows. Like this is pretty much
it. Yeah. This is a poured poured concrete foundation, and just built to take like some old cannonballs from back in the day, and that's kind of about it, right? He like pretty classically goes, hey, I think I found something, and like he holds up some like hair, and he's sort of since managed his way outside into the gravel, just as you kind of lose sight of him, go meandering from papers to stuff, and then he looks at the tree line and sort of heads over towards it, and he's just like, I think they went this way, right? And he shows some points at some like drag marks through the gravel and stuff. Drag marks is more like plodding feet drag marks.
Like someone unwilling moving along. It's a lead, if anything.
So, essentially, you've sort of been put onto what would be an old game trail if you follow these into the woods. Old game trail is going to be sort of like your natural paths through the woods where deer and stuff would go through, and you can see that it's recently disturbed, and stuff has been knocked about, and branches and that sort of thing. A lot bigger than a deer.
Is it pretty easy to track, or are we gonna have to roll a survival?
It's pretty easy to track as long as you stay on the game trail. If you get lost, if you end up like trying to roam off and do some other stuff, you'd have to roll a survival. But game trails tend to be. It feels like it basically as natural as following a hiking path. A little bit narrower than a standard hiking path, but same principle.
How how can we march? Can there be like two abreast, or
It'd be
is it
single.
single file?
It'd be single file.
Okay.
I mean, you can. There's woods. You can just walk through some extra brush and stuff, but it can be annoying depending on how overgrown it is. But if you wanted to force the issue, you could.
Well, Castle say, this seems to be our path.
Which time approximately before sunup?
Elizabeth maybe lingering in the door, and before sunup, you probably got about 4 hours. You basically lost an hour between like the concert and here.
Yeah.
So you got about 4 hours. Elizabeth and Ben kind of lingering in the doorway. The ranger radio, like kicks itself on, and you hear a voice kind of coming through scrambled and out of tune.
I look at Ben. You know how to use one of these things?
No.
Elizabeth, with your points in technology, like I know you're focused on the phone, you might be able to figure it out.
True. I will not forget that I had points in technology again.
Like if it was a phone, like you wouldn't even have to think about it. But you're pretty handy with this kind of stuff.
All right, I'm going to fiddle with it.
Okay, go ahead and roll it. This would be an int technology, without the benefit of an additional die from your specialty.
Five.
Yeah, it's like riding a bike, or what it would be like riding a bike if you'd never ridden a bike before, picked it up and immediately figured it out. Like, you just, we got some gain here, we got some frequencies here, and you start like sort of fiddling with the knobs and stuff, and then you hear a voice come through, sounds oddly familiar, and you hear, "Don't trust coterie." And you fiddle with the knobs some more. Hello? Hello? You hear your own voice coming through the radio. Hello?
Yeah, I'll pick up the headset or whatever it is, the handset.
Yeah. You got the classic like hand and like the one ear type thing.
Hello. Who is this?
It's Elizabeth. No. This is wrong. Like holding the hand on what must be the receiver on her end, she starts to say something like, "Already at the cap," and then it goes out, and then and you have your opportunity to speak.
Already where? Who?
You're at the cabin already. That means there's still time.
Time for what? Who are you? Where are you?
Don't. It all goes wrong. Don't kill. It just goes out.
I'll kind of like keep on clicking the button. Hello. Start turning the dials and.
Yeah, and at some point you end up on creepy you end up picking up a random like interfering frequency, and you pick up like creepy MKE AM on their sign off. And remember to beware of the ghost channels or something stupid, and you get their sign, and then it's just like the frequencies unmuddle and unravel, and it's just dead air.
Look at Ben. What the fuck was that?
Does anyone have a Colt in the party?
Yeah.
Roll it. Ben, especially. I think Cass is kind of outside in the gravel area at this point. So Ben, go ahead and roll occult.
We're looking at tracks. Do your nerd thing.
I already said I was a LARPer earlier with my sword.
Sword.
Damn. The WITI tower has a reputation for being one of the towers in America that broadcasts ghost channels. Ghost channels being a cryptid pseudoscience thing. Like the original one's supposed to come from Russia, and there's a few of them that are supposed to have like ghost signals and stuff. That's about all you know with just two though. You don't know any. You know the rumor. More local folklore you picked up while studying other more pressing to yourself matters.
Go ahead and just relay that real quick to Elizabeth.
And
Well, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Like it? Am I confused? Did that not sound like me?
I mean, this whole thing is fucked. And you're surprised you hear a creepy-ass radio? Really?
Would you be surprised if you heard a creepy-ass radio person talking to you saying your name was theirs?
After running through the woods chasing werewolves that's full of spears and all sorts of crazy shit, and some random creepy-ass dude stuck in a closet? Yes, I would expect these things.
Where the hell are you from? That's like a fucking Wednesday where I'm from.
You don't want to know where I'm from.
Fucking Boringsville is where that is. Kind of like banter in an attempt to get Ben to talk more because he's been a little bit more quiet since we've gotten to the shack here.
Oh, that's fine. Not bad. The banter, it's probably about this time that Cass, I believe, would mention, has been like looking at the game trail and kind of mentions it. What's the party do?
Pix would definitely be out on that trail with Cass looking at it because whatever oily car salesman guy has led us to, he's either trying to get out of his own skin or he's trying to get a better deal. Either way, could have some benefits for us.
Yeah, sure. Follow the creepy guy into the dark forest.
I mean, that's how I became the way I am.
He is definitely a creep. Creepy, not his vibe.
I'm not his type, alas.
I guess when I get out to where the rest of them are, I will kind of relay what just happened. It's like maybe we should just take our winnings and leave.
You heard yourself speaking. Like, it wasn't just like feedback on a radio? Because my security systems back home used to do that. Like, you're 100% sure.
No, I'm not sure about anything that's going on right now. But I'm not too eager to find out what's going on out there.
No, maybe call it youthful risk-taking, but I want to know what's at the bottom of this. This is just more than some werewolf kidnapping. Maybe whatever happened to that concert has to do with why you heard yourself going through that radio or whatever, but Elizabeth, we can't just leave this here. We have to find out.
And what if it ends poorly?
Well, isn't that everything with life? Just things end poorly sometimes, but there are 5 of us, well, 6 now, I guess, and 7 counting Batty, but I think we've got a good chance of figuring out what's going on here if we just put our brains together and give it a chance.
I don't mean to be condescending, but you are rather new to a lot of this, and you're going to find out rather quickly that Our whole existence is making sure our existence maintains itself. And we don't throw ourselves into harm's way when we have all of eternity in front of us. Unless you're ready to walk out into the dawn one morning and end it all. That's self-preservation is number one. You do not preserve self by walking into a werewolf's den.
We should at least figure out where the den is. We've got about an hour start on us. I doubt we'll run into that one.
We can at least inform Decker where it is. Come back with a hunting party, so to speak.
I mean, it's what,
That's it?
1:30, 2 o'clock right now? Doesn't leave us much time to get in there, find what we need, and get back out. If we run into any kind of trouble, we could be in some serious shit.
Do make a good point.
Not
This doesn't feel right to leave it here.
Do a tactical retreat if anything goes if it goes sideways.
Well, let's hope we get that opportunity.
Let's see where an hour takes us, and then we know we've got enough time to backtrack.
Always
All
worth
right.
giving it a peek. Let's go.
I'm not. I know I'm new to this, but what if I go find us an
No,
and the
Coming
bodies?
with us.
no.
You're coming with us, fancy pants.
Honestly, they're pretty decent. He says, and he like. That's kind of why I'm hesitant to go through the burrs and the snap vines and all that.
And you can borrow my hoodie if it'll make you feel better.
No, it's very nice for you. It's one of those like backhanded compliments,
God, this boomer.
All right. I'll go first.
Greatest generation, he says.
I think as we all turn around and follow Cass, Pix just go like, greatest generation. Gehenna's coming.
I served 2
Just
tours.
roll our eyes.
Well, I woulda, but heel splints.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess I'll start taking the lead from Cass.
All right. Party sort of winds through the game trail for a spell. It doesn't take a full hour before something catches Cass's eye, and then sort of consequently the rest of the party. Probably about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, sort of winding through. You sort of notice off to the side, another sort of small clearing, though not as robust and a large clearing as what the tower was sitting in. Noticeable, some attempt to sort of manage it. Occasionally has been paid attention to this, and you can see what I can only describe as a sort of silo sticking out of the ground, just a sort of top sort of domed roof, and you can see a ladder that goes up and onto the top of it. You can hear. Well, go ahead and roll a wits awareness to hear, and if you have any auspex or ability to hear better, you can factor that in.
Everyone or Cass in particular?
Everybody, the whole party. You kind of sort of are on the cusp of this clearing. I don't think you've quite given up your cover yet, of the woods, but you're all kind of right there, about to sort of filter into this clearing.
And if we add auspex, how many dies?
The actual auspex dice pool, if you have the discipline that allows you to add your hearing, you add that actual dice pool to it. So if you have auspex 3 or 2, you would add 3 or 2 full dice in addition to the fact that basically the one auspex discipline says you basically get to hear stuff for free or see stuff for free. So.
Right, so how do I do this with the roller to use auspex?
But I got 5 successes.
Let's go with the interesting thing first. Ben, you hear these voices too, like coming from near the silo or in the silo or whatever. But it's the voices you hear from behind. It's that feeling of this sort of beast going into like the preservation mode kicking in, that you can feel sort of recoiling in you, and you become hyper aware, but not just hyper aware, hyper vigilant, and you sort of like hear the trees. Is this what Salvatore was talking about? And you can see little flits of this sort of like particle lights. Some people call like willow wisps or soul lights or whatever. Your attention is pulled completely away from the silo as you become suddenly hyper aware that this force is very dangerous. That you are being watched and you can now hear them talking to you. You're not sure what they're saying, but they're saying everything. Bensar. You want power. Power we can give you. Let us out. Another one says, no, let us in. Let us in. Let us out. Let us in. And they just kind of echo that back and forth to you, and until it sort of just becomes cacophonous, just screaming whispers in your head on this just resonant frequency with your own inner beast.
I'm going to ask how.
That tree over there catches your eye. The rest of the party's attention pulls to, we'll get back to Ben in a second. The rest of the attention of the party pulls towards that silo. Elizabeth picks Salvatore. We'll get to you in a second, Salvatore. I don't see Cass's roll for wits awareness. You basically auto-succeed because you use the Auspec's ability to hear, but I just want to know the degree.
Cass got 5 successes.
All right. Cass, not only... this conversation is as clear as day to you. It's like you're standing in the silo. You're using your Auspex. Now, if there's like a loud boom or something, like a gun going off, it'll shatter your psyche. But in the meantime, you're in the silo with these voices. In fact... You imagine yourself in the silo. You are in the silo. You're standing inside the silo. I don't know, like you're not in the woods anymore. You see all 3 people talking. You can make them out. You're there. You're right there. You're in the conversation. As this sort of Malkavian network starts to pull your attention, almost like you're remote viewing. You're reminded of that awesome documentary, or maybe it was a movie. I don't know. Men Who Stare at Goats. Who knows? And you're in the silo. You see all 3 figures talking. With the 2 threes, you hear it. It's a little muffled. It's distant, but you pretty much can pick up the gist. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through a little bit of a conversation. The party can decide to interject, and we'll get to a couple other noteworthy things. Where was I? Here we go. You hear, that's what you call subtle. Pix, you recognize the voice? Male, masculine. You can't quite place it right now. Might be another Nosferatu. There's certainly an edge to his voice, though. He's like, that's what you call subtle. And then, like, you don't necessarily... make out the rest, and you hear, come on, don't start now. No, and then the male voice sort of like, Decker's not going to like this. You hear a woman's voice, fuck Decker. And then You can make out something that sounds like, "Thanks, Issa. Sorry about your men, but we're square now, right?" You just hear like sort of a growl. "Anyway, yours like we agreed," says the woman. And then the male voice comes back in. "And the emissary?" The woman. "She's a wild card, but better to get a read on her before we deal with her. She shouldn't ruin things." "Issa, you better get out of here. You've already risked enough." "Thank you." The Malkavian can almost imagine a Nosferatu in a leather jacket with spikes on his shoulders, standing in there, bald head, sort of overpronounced ears. He's ugly, but he's always been ugly, so he is, quite frankly, confident in his appearance. He was ugly long before he was a Nosferatu. Means nothing to him when he became one, type thing. Like a rare Nosferatu of confidence. You can almost imagine the silo with you. You can see a sort of stark, black and gray furred, large wolf in her full, what is it, Galue form. And you make out a woman in like sort of like hiking boots, khakis, a flannel shirt. You've been in Milwaukee for a while, but you'd recognize her to be Honor Mercer.
Anna Mercer.
And then
Oh shit!
the werewolf that
That's
that's in this silo with you steps sideways and is gone. Cass's attention. Was this a hallucination? Were you in the the Malkavian zone? Wherever Malkavians go when they notice things that others shouldn't notice. Who knows? Maybe it's just a very vivid imagination inserting folks here. And the party roughly hears the conversation, right? Do you listen further? Do you act? Wait a second. Where the hell is Ben? Wait, where the fuck is Salvatore? Salvatore, those Bane spirits you saw, even without turning on your searching for Fetter, they're all prominent. You see every one of them. Everywhere. And you see them coalescing around Ben as Ben walks towards a tree. The party, you don't remember like what your attention was on before. Like how when you're pulled into this, how the world sort of goes gray and you really focus on looking for the fetters and stuff like that. A similar thing kind of happened to your memory where like whatever you were on some sort of task before, but this dark beyond that your beast is so attached to, or not dark beyond, what is it called? The living darkness that your beast is so attached to, it had something more pressing for you to care about right now. And when with your bestial failure, you've sort of maybe inadvertently activated it. You're just keyed in on a different sort of wavelength of sensus right now, and this is what you care about most. The don't call it a coterie is kind of becoming a memory, an impression, just like the gray shadows on the wall when you're, when the humans fade away and you focus on fetters. Same thing, except now it's attention span too. The party
is locked in on the beacon that is Ben Sahar, evidently.
Yeah, these spirits are sort of swirling, almost like coalescing above Ben as he heads towards this tree. Ben, you reach the tree. It's gnarled, ancient. Almost seems to be an entirely different color hue from the rest of the trees around it. Maybe it's the moonlight catching it, just that half moonlight catching it just perfect. the voices ask you. We're back with the party. Where the hell are Ben and Salvatore?
This isn't good.
So
We
were
need-
we all able to see what was going on in the silo through? Cass, it was just Cass. So then with my
Just
three wits,
Malkavian shit. Like,
so then with my 3 wits and awareness and aspects, what was I able to take from that?
you heard the whole conversation. You got that there was a werewolf in there, growling and maybe even saying stuff through, just a different intonation and tone, because when wolf vocal cords and stuff change, right? Even in your bipedal form. And you were able to make out the masculine voice, the sort of kind of a little grumpy, edgy voice, perhaps familiar to you as well. You've only been in town a couple weeks, but it's a very distinct voice. You feel like you'd be able to pick it out again if you heard it. The other one, very confident voice of a woman who you didn't get like a cruelty in it. You got this like just sort of confident, like we're gonna make shit happen type vibe. It's time, enough of this, more of that sort of edge to her voice. And you picked up that whole conversation. They do seem to be planning something. You think they were referring to Athena, and you think that they were actually in cahoots with the werewolf.
Castle say out loud, he'll be like, Honor Mercer, a bald bat, the wolf, and a she-wolf. But we're the others.
Cass has almost been vibrating in place as he's sort of hugged himself and been like looking and listening super intensely. He was somewhere else just then. He comes out of it and says this.
What others?
Ben and Sal.
Ben and Sal. Shit, where did they go?
Yeah.
Look, a rebellion is enough to go back to Decker about, but we gotta make sure everyone's okay, unless like the woodsy people, right?
Yeah,
Not usually.
I think they went that way. Tomlin interjects.
Oh, fuck, let's go get them.
All right, lead the way then. We gotta get over to some access.
Hey, what about he's pointing at the silo as you guys, as the party starts to head through, head past him towards the way he pointed.
We can come back to it.
Rennie shrugs. The party winds its way sort of through the trees. The trees are resisting the party. Sal and Ben didn't seem to have an issue. At least not that Sal, who's got the most wits about him, recalls anyway. He's walking on a different path entirely, but it was still a path. The rest of the party's actively moving through brush, actively moving through trees, bending branches out of the way, snapping them, that sort of thing. This is the path not taken, right? You're drudging through this woods in the night, and you actually can make out some of these flitting lights as well as you start to sort of get into the forest. This isn't a hallucination. Something's coalescing. Something not as vibrant a vision as what Sal's got right now, but this amount of spiritual activity it leaves echoes in the sort of in the prime in our realm, and you can see them. Just the little bits of them trying to seep out, a wisp here, a tail there of light, a little bobbing shadow here that's almost three-dimensional and has its own sort of light source, stuff like that, right? And they're just all different shapes and sizes, just slightly trying to step into our reality, but being held back. And you get flits of them, and you can make out Ben up next to this tree. Sword still in hand, perhaps. Well, I guess we'll shift into Ben's perspective in a moment here. So you can kind of, Ben's enamored by this one particular tree, and Sal's like enamored by something going on above that you can't see. Sal, your beast, this living darkness calls to it took you for a moment, but you're getting your wits back, and you're able to sort of come into it. You're still inadvertently sort of tripping the rift. You're sort of inadvertently seeing sideways for the moment, but you're getting your senses back a little bit. You have agency. You just happen to be in that mode, right? That oblivion mode. So your agency is back, but you're in oblivion mode. Is the best way to describe it. Ben, your agency is coming back, but your beast is thirsty. Not just for vitae this time. This is power. Who knows what the consequences are. But this is power. And you're standing before this tree. How is Ben? He's hearing these whispers, let me out, let me in. No, in or out, in or out. Give us power. We'll give you power. Power. How is Ben staring at this tree, this gnarled old thing that even has its own sort of, that even catches the moonlight differently? It cuts, every other tree in its vicinity fades to silhouette in the presence of this thing, and you can see little hatches and markings in its ancient sort of layered bark.
So I kind of look at it like a scientist looking at a fishbowl, just very trying to analyze all of this stuff, because it keeps repeating this. But I'm curious how it works and what is binding this entity or this door, keeping this door shut.
So, I'm going to let you roll an occult as you sort of go into this analytical mode. You have no doubt that this tree is ancient, perhaps the oldest in this whole forest. It's drank a lot of blood. There has been bloodshed on these grounds, wars fought, massacres. People have gone missing and died here. Usually blood-soaked ground makes things worse. This tree has thrived, been satiated. Taking in some of these symbols, the layers of the bark, how it almost seems like different species of tree, and it's almost like it is emulating other natural things in the area, but not quite getting it right. You have an understanding that something like this might be an anchor point, a node, a bond, perhaps a fetter unto itself. But with the whispers, you have an understanding that if you're to, the question of out or in is whether you give it a sacrifice of vampiric blood, or whether you take some of it into you by impaling a branch in yourself or something along those lines. Out or in. Whatever it is, probably not good. But the power's legit.
Mm.
We're so jealous right now.
I'm going to start looking around just to see if there's anything within arm's reach of me. Besides me, that has blood.
There's Sal. He's like 2 paces back. He's kind of been looking up this minute. Sal, what are you doing? You see Ben looking at this and all right, he's doing a math problem or something in his head as he's looking at this tree.
I'm gonna motion for Sal to come over.
Sal, this tree is a dead thing. From your perspective, staring at this thing is dead. It isn't just dead. It is It is darkness.
Salvatore will step forward and say, "They're all over. You're a beacon."
How attached are you to your left hand?
I shoot with my right.
Yes.
It's about this time that the parties sort of come and fought their way through the trees, and you see now we get kind of the complete vision of Ben facing Sal. How attached are you to your right, your left hand? And you see Salvatore sort of like itching with his hand with his sword. What does the rest of the party do in this moment? We're sort of like in sort of film, film timing at this point. Reaction shots and slow-mo and kind of moving around perspectives simultaneously.
I think Pix forgetting herself for a moment, and Subtlety's just gonna say, "Come on, you spooky motherfuckers, can't we just have one night out without you doing shit like this?"
I'm the one that brought us here.
To be fair, it's only our first night out with him.
Okay,
It's felt like
Fair,
4,
but-
like when apocalyptic stuff, it really sort of like it adds a multiplier to it when you have like exposition and and like world building to get out the way. So it can feel like 4 nights. I get it.
I'll look at Sal and be like, it'd be better than your left hand. And then I'm gonna like slowly look over at Tomlin.
Tomlin doesn't seem to be there.
Bad.
God damn it, we're that slimy. Alright, can you put the sword away? I don't think we need to be cutting anyone up right now. I don't know what is going on in Jack Skellington land right now, but just please.
Look,
Yeah,
I'm a
we can go
Malkavian, and I wouldn't take on my own hand to give it to some tree.
There you have it. If the Malky won't do it, it's a bad idea. Get your shit together. Let's get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna take out my cell phone and take a picture of the tree.
Yeah, we can always come back.
To be
Yeah.
continued.
Sal takes in the spot in the woods because there's a ritual that's gonna happen here.
It takes Sal as the type.
Drop a pin.
Yeah. Salvatore, you might even feel a little envious now because you see the activity, but it didn't talk to you. It was talking to Ben. The heck's that about? Maybe it's your beast getting jealous. Maybe that voice inside your head's yours. Party seems to have its wits back about it. Seem to be heading back towards the silo. What do y'all do now?
Cass is keeping his eye out for Tomlin.
You can roll wits awareness, but
Or maybe
celerity is a hell of a drug.
or maybe even like a survival check to see if I can find his tracks.
He did try to initially. I'll give this to you. You've got Auspex still going, I'd imagine. It's still the same. We could have had a scene transition with a tree, but there's a overlap period there. You can see where he legitimately did try to make his way through the brush. You can see like it ripped off like his silk shirt though, and you can almost see and hear him swear in real time, "Fuck this! I'm not ruining another suit. I'm not ruining this suit any more than I have to," and just like doubling back type thing. You see the point where it got too difficult for him, and he left. You do notice that he seemed to have headed towards the silo, but without actually like getting in there and like investigating, it's going to be difficult to tell if he went and then veered, or if he got if he had some sort of ability to sort of transpose or whatever the heck without sort of physically going into the being exposed basically. Right now you have the cover of the woods. If you want to, you can roll an investigation and go kind of check out the silo, but you'd be milling about silo, and who knows if the people are still inside of it or whatever.
I mean, Cass would be pretty cautious at this point. I mean, he wants to investigate and approach, but he wants, the party at his back probably, and also like to see if anybody else is looking about. So,
okay, go ahead and roll wits awareness. In fact, the whole party can, just sort of like a spot check or just kind of some weird shit just happened. You got to get your bearings back.
Oh yeah, Pix will definitely be looking around with Cass because we already have the ghost hunters over there doing whatever. Got to make sure that Slimy Steve here hasn't escaped.
Wits and awareness is how we got here in the first place. That's what you want to make it now.
Bestial failures on wits and awareness is how you got there.
I got 2 successes. One is a bestial.
Yeah, it doesn't matter unless you
possibly
fail the DC.
Do I add my aspects to this roll or no?
You may.
Okay. Oh, that's 2 more successes. 4 successes.
Cool. I see Ben Sahar. Is this again with a possible bestial failure?
Following program on Foundry loves me to roll next to no successes and get as many bestial failures as possible. Dave is my spirit animal right now.
I love it. That just added flavor to this adventure.
It's the cost of being hungry.
Yeah.
5 on my part.
So, Sal, yeah, there's some voice. There was some activity in that silo. I don't know.
Yeah.
With the.
How's that tree doing though?
Still there. Still there. In fact, like, why are you heading over to the silo? There's some sort of necromancer crucible over here to utilize. Maybe.
Oh man, the beginnings of our cult.
Order of the tree, or Order of the creepy tree. The ancient order of the Hubbard. So with the twos, yeah, there's you don't feel like you're being watched. You don't feel like anyone's got the drop on you. Nothing really seems out of order. It's business as usual. At the 4s and 5s, it's one of those, like, you can tell the environment has shifted. It would be, if you're keyed in that, like, it's a little bit quieter where it should be. The silo is a little bit more still than it was a little bit before. You don't know. It's one of those, if they didn't know you were here before, they might know now. You don't see anyone making any active, like, moves against you, but whatever was going on before, something's different, something's off.
Elizabeth, I think you were right. Maybe we shouldn't have stuck our noses into this. I think we need to go.
Yeah, at this point, like, I didn't roll before for anything. I've been kind of trying to slowly inch towards where we came from to when I have attention on me. It's like, you know what? Let's go. Let's get out of here right now.
I want you to say to this recording, I want to hear this later and for posterity. Say, probably shouldn't have done this. This was bad. Go.
I didn't want to come here in the first place. I wasn't willing to split the party, though.
I think we got some good intel. Backtracking seems like a good idea.
Enough to report back to Decker.
Oh, let's swing back to the radio station, grab the 2 bodies, and bring Decker a present.
Sure.
All right.
Let's.
I think we can close this evening. Just enough time to meet up with Decker, sort of back at Miller Park. The baseball goes forever. For those of y'all who don't particularly care about sports ball, and it's spring training, so they're not quite in like extra innings and doing all that stuff. But it's a special night edition of spring training, because in a world where vampires are real, who also happen to like sports ball, they might hamper with the schedule a little bit. I can see stuff like that being more than plausible. So a special night camp type thing, for the inaugural, baseball season kickoff, spring training type event. It's pretty much calmed down now. The team itself has left, but there's little, they open up the park to a tour and basically a bunch of promotional events, and Decker's back in his VIP box, and we're just going to kind of jump to the party secures the bodies of the werewolves. I'd imagine there's a fun little... Actually, I don't want to jump ahead too far. You secure the bodies of the werewolves. Was it just Ben's truck in the parking lot?
Yes.
I'll call
Throw
a
him in
guy.
the bed.
I'll call a guy who can pull around a van to take these bodies.
It
I
would
don't
have
want
been
to
so
sully.
much better to just throw him in Ben Sahar's truck.
I don't want to
Fancy
sully
I was going
Ben's
to ask him
truck.
if he had a tarp.
No.
I'm sure I've got a body guy.
You have a lore sheet 5 with the criminal, with the vampire crime family. Like, you got a guy for like basically any one of these situations.
Cleaner, yeah.
Well, cleaners are the killers, the ones that kill people. I think it's called like a
A
maid's
fixer.
I think it's fixers make the crime look like it didn't happen. I believe it's literally called a maid service that cleans up corpses.
Oh, perfect.
Oh no, it's carpet. It's called a carpet service. It's called I believe it's called carpet service. So you call your carpet service, because they used to roll bodies up in rugs.
Yep.
So you call your carpet service, like as the party. Don't call us a coterie. Debates throwing them in the back of Ben Sahar's truck. He's like, going in the back of my truck. You sure you got a tarp you can throw down? Yeah. You call up, and van shows up. A nondescript, like mauve colored van shows up or something. Takes the, it's got like Stanley and Kids carpet cleaning service on the side of it. In like gaudy yellow print that's faded and chipped away over time, and it's got like a phone number on it. Like the whole works. Looks like a totally legitimate business. Shows up with the vans. They actually like essentially like bag the bodies, pull them in. So you want them in the river? Anything fancy? We got a good farmhouse down. Outside. We can get rid of them at. Where are we taking these? Sal. Or no, he doesn't even use Sal. He calls you by some like, where are we taking him, Stan?
Parking lot of Miller Park.
Oh.
It's
All
a
right.
message.
A message. All right. You want us to put the fireworks on it, or just subtle light? Someplace maybe you can point out.
And I'll describe the part of the parking lot where the tailgate was.
So they just leave the van type. Leave them.
Yeah.
We'll be discreet. Blue sedan. They give you like the first 3 of a license plate.
Thanks, boys.
It's from Illinois, by the way. Illinois plates. So they scoop the bodies. Now we can jump to Miller Park if you so desire. Kind of watching the time, watching the party, trying to make sure we have enough time to interact with Decker.
I hope Ben appreciates the respect for his vehicle.
Yeah, I think probably head straight there. Did we want to take a quick detour to check on Nails at all?
Nails is old enough. If he's in torpor, he's not going anywhere unless somebody went in there and took him out.
The old timer should be all right.
I mean, unless you want to use him also and turn him in with the 2 werewolves.
He could be a valuable witness, but he probably needs the time to recover.
If he's old enough, he's going to need, like, more time than you have to wait. You got to jumpstart the old ones if you want anything done fast.
Huh?
I think we just take these 2 pelts, leave the geezer back at the place.
I'll take care of him, don't worry. I'll go for a shopping trip. Make sure we got plenty of things to drink back home.
All right. So y'all return to Decker, right? That's the consensus I'm getting. Okay. Y'all return to Decker. True to form, the carpet service has a blue sedan Illinois plate with the thing sitting in there, innocuously parked, just a little bit off to the side. Anyone could have parked here, forgot their car, did the responsible thing, called an Uber when they got too drunk, right? They'll come back and pick up their car in the morning. Standard, basic. You sort of I think for sort of bracketing, you'd be inside the actual, like you've talked to some of like Decker's muscle outside, and they're like, oh, they recognize you. They actually lead you into the stadium where Decker's actually sitting behind the dugout. Pretty much nobody's in the stadium at this point. They've all filtered out, and they've gone elsewhere, and the lights have been killed, all except for like a couple to help folks clean, and he's sitting there like kicked back, and sees y'all sort of like walking down the stairs from out of one of the little tunnels inside, from the interior of the building, coming out into the stadium. So he says, one night, hell of a night, he says, and he sort of stands up to greet you. So, how did it go? I heard there were some issues. I heard there were some issues at the rave, but you're here, so I'm guessing you got something.
Yeah, you can say that. We've got a present for you down in the parking lot.
He like looks over the party for present.
Well, one doesn't just walk up to the prince without an offering, right?
Citizenship duties. That jazz.
So if I were to send someone to look for this present, or if we were to go together?
Blue sedan, Illinois plates, right outside. Trunk.
He like looks back into the shadows, from whence you came, and like maybe there's some motion, maybe there's not, maybe there's some obfuscated individuals around. Who knows? So, Athena?
Missing.
Wolves got her.
Now, out of character, going back to when the concert was, I can't remember which one of you guys it was that checked to see if there was like any spooky magic done on her. Was that Ben?
Ben and Cass in tandem.
Cass? Would they have told the rest of us that?
I believe Cass did.
Yeah, Cass brought it up.
Yeah.
As far as we know, she's not a vampire. She's a pawn or a tool of somebody else.
To make sure I don't misunderstand you, a bond, would a ghoul,
Quite possible. These two seen it. I'll point at both Cass and Ben.
He directs his attention towards Cass and Ben.
It's Harry Potter in nature. It's not a blood bond.
Fuck Joanne, he says. Yeah. Thaumaturgists.
Or something adjacent.
He looks at you with like when he says thaumaturgist, like he looks very pointedly at you, right? Good, good. Like he looks back to the shadows. You did better than I thought. Anything else you'd like to share? Anything you'd like to ask of your prince? You did good. You did Milwaukee a service tonight. 2 services as far as I can tell. And he gives like a, like a weirdly... This is the first time you've seen, I don't say pleasure, but like certainly like a bemusement in his eyes. You're used to the weariness more.
Just a
Yeah.
few things of interest, really. Oh, go ahead, Cass.
Cass will just say, I think it was an inside job.
Really?
Cass will kind of shrug. Tomlin seemed to get an anonymous tip. We tracked him down to his silo, and there's a conversation between the she-wolf and 2 other individuals.
He leans towards you. Consider your words carefully. Did you see the individuals? Enough for a confirmation? Do you know who they were? Consider very carefully. Do you know who they were?
I have an idea.
An idea.
We need more proof.
That like that predator vibe you got from him the first night. This is a man who has had, as a soldier, your character. You have a soldier. Like, as long as your character's been soldiering, you have a similar vibe from him. But this is like cold-hearted and ancient. Like, we're talking this man's soldiership might go back to the Revolutionary War. And he has been bathed, raised, and completely inoculated by war. And you get that, like, that comes through in that sort of, that predator vibe you get from this. Again, in the presence of Decker, you are in the presence of a predator's predator. More proof?
We have an idea based on guesses, but we need more proof to confirm the IDs, because none of us actually got inside the silo.
None of you got in the silo. Well,
Too
We were a little-
risky.
we were a little
considering
risky
that there's a
after-
Garu present.
I suppose 2 in one night's enough. He smiles. Let's say temporary citizenship. And your club will be under less discerning eyes. You did your prince a service. Milwaukee welcomes you. Treat her well.
I'm looking forward to getting to know her and her people.
Unless the party has anything they'd like to do with the mere couple hours they have left before dawn.
Is Kawa there?
You haven't seen Akawa. No, like he's not like physically present here, but he'd be in the tunnels or something. It's possible that Decker was looking back to Akawa when he was like looking into the shadows. If you wanted to go like talk to Akawa. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can talk to Akawa. He's around. The first thing he said is, "Does the party go with, or is this like a sidebar? Like, how does this go down?" You see, Decker's basically given you the we'll call it temporary citizenship, and he's given you. You've gotten the thumbs up from the prince now. The coterie. Are we calling it a coterie now?
We haven't slept yet.
Okay, all right. So we don't call it a coterie yet. But he's given the party a, this sort of the nod of approval, very good, type thing, and basically sort of gives you some some agency to set up havens and do the basic Cami Kindred stuff, right? Like you've earned all of that now, and the unscrupulous nature how some of you have entered the city, he's hand waved it, especially with the little bonus of not only finding out about some details about Athena, but the 2 bonus werewolf bodies, really sealed the deal. I think really almost like you did some bonus content. So yeah, you get the sort of that pass, and then Salvatore sort of heads back to back into the tunnels a little bit abruptly, I suppose. But
I'll make a point of asking him when we finally get to discuss why I'm here.
All right. Does anyone follow Salvatore, or Salvatore goes off and does his own thing? Because we'll stay in
I'm
the
going to
scene.
go back to my club at this point.
All right, we'll stay in the scene with the prince.
I mean, we can do that. We can do that part later, kind of.
Okay, you want to do like a sidebar conversation type thing? Cool, awesome.
Yeah, let Sal go
yeah.
meet up with his idol.
Okay, Akawa is sweet, by the way. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Salvatore, Akawa's standing outside. Standing outside, like just in one of the tunnels, sort of like heading back in to the interior of the ballpark, and then I told you. I think did he say it generally to the party or just to Pix? That the rave was more dangerous.
He said that's Sal caught it as
Sal caught it?
was. Yeah.
So his words to you then would be, how was the rave?
Haunted. I need to know more. Who is the Wraith?
That's a big question. There's some theories. Some would say it's old Kindred who met a untimely death. I believe it's something else.
Any ideas who may know more?
Did you see it?
I did.
He looks.
Spoke to me.
You're one of very few.
Offered a warning.
What was the warning?
Leave now.
And you're still
Before the concert. Barely.
Many of us have been told to leave this city. You sure it was just the hall?
It was just the rave.
No, I mean the warning.
Huh.
Do you think something like that tells you just to leave a building?
Perhaps more. Took it to mean its domain.
I've not encountered the Wraith myself. I've known a few who have. Most of them don't stay. I can't leave. This is my home. But
Well, I'm here. I'm hoping to make a few friends.
He looks around. I don't think this is the best place to talk about this. Too many years. He reaches into his duster. Here. Tomorrow. He points at the address on it. Tomorrow evening.
I'll be there.
I don't think I caught your name. Not
Salvatore.
Okawa. He just gives you like a once over. This will be interesting. We can call it there. Thus ends the first night of Milwaukee by Night.
It only took 4 sessions.
The exposition gauge is maxed out. It's like a limit break in Final Fantasy. Like we've officially we've maxed out the exposition meter, and now the party can like select what limit break they choose and like go and do that and be some stuff.